Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Okay. So friends, we are discussing the institution of state, and the last time I said that state is that institution of society which has monopoly of violence. Actually, to understand violence, we have to go into the deeper concept of power. Violence is a kind of power, but violence is not the only form of power. So today, in this lecture, I will first define the concept of power as defined by Max Weber, and then relate power to state, and also identify certain different types of states. After this, we will have a more general discussion on state and civil society. I also wish to introduce concepts like nation, ethnicity, so that we can clearly distinguish between state, nation, ethnicity and society, and properly examine the relationship between them. So first, defining power. Max Weber, I have been repeating name of Max Weber. Max Weber is because I come from science background, so I used to see that in mathematics, physics, everywhere, there was something or the other from Newton. Max Weber is like that. Max Weber, who has something or other to say on all aspects of society. Because Max Weber not only developed a new method. When we were discussing what is sociology, I said that as opposed to positivistic and naturalistic method of Emile Durkheim, Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, he developed a new, Gisbert calls it, analytical method, in which there is more stress on subjective meaning and understanding action. Max Weber has given his own ideas, and he has also provided a critique of Marxist theory. So in sociology, he has both the contributions. He develops a new kind of sociology, and he also provides a critique of Marxist sociology. Max Weber defines power in the following manner. Although we all use the term power in some or other context, but if I ask you to define power, it becomes again a very difficult. Always remember what Max Weber said, that the concepts of sociologists are ideal types. We are trying to reach reality with the help of these concepts. But the concepts are not realities. Concepts are only aid, they are tools. They are certain ideas, standard ideas, in terms of which we want to see reality around us. It's like developing a language of communication. Beyond that, it means nothing. If we have to talk about society, we have to use some concepts. Regarding power, Max Weber says that power is the chance of a man or a number of men to realize their own will in a communal action, even against the resistance of others who are participating in the action. If I ask you, have you ever heard the term power? Obviously, you have all heard the term power. And you say that that person is powerful or that group is more powerful, or you have to do something to attain power. Groups have to, associations, organizations, parties plan how they can attain power. Political parties plan how to attain power. What is this power? This may not be the best definition, but in most of the sociology books which I have read on state and power, they have given this definition by Max Weber. Certain elements of this definition are very important for us, and they help us in understanding the nature of power, the determinants of power, and also the consequences of power. Power is the chance. A very crucial term. Power is the chance. Power is not deterministic. Power is a probability. A powerful person may prove to be an utterly powerless person. That often happens, that is possible. It's a probability. It only says that a person or a group of persons who are powerful have a higher probability, a higher chance of some kind. It's a chance. So you can't broadly divide the whole society into groups on the basis of power, in the sense that there is always and a clear-cut hierarchy of power. You can only say that this group of people has power in the sense that the probability of certain kind is higher. Now, what is this probability of? Chance of a man. A man can be powerful, and here man also means woman. It's a generic term. Man means man as well as woman. A man or a woman can be powerful or powerless. The chance of a man or a number of men. That means power can also be studied in the context of social groups, aggregates. We can justifiably attach the concept of power to all the groups. A sports club, photography club, political party, faculty members, students union, labor union, union or organization of taxi drivers, societies of intellectuals, scientists. They are the social groups, and groups also differ in terms of power. Individuals differ in terms of power. Power of all of you individually is not same. Some of you are more powerful than others. The reasons may be different. One out of say 100 students who have registered for this course, some students are more powerful than others. The basis of power may be different. We will come to the basis of power later, again using the terms of Max Weber. Somebody may be powerful because he is well built and is physically so strong that normally other relatively weaker students would not like to engage in quarrel with that student because he is powerful. He can beat. Somebody can be powerful because he is a 10-pointer. So he has academic power. And he is able to influence others because others may require his help sometime. Others may take notes from him. Others may seek his guidance. Others may learn from him to which universities to apply and in which universities at what minimum CPI or SPI research admissions are given. So power can be on the basis of CPI. Power can be on the basis of money. If some student has a lot of money, so much money that he can easily spend money on friends. He can take them to cinema, give them parties often. He will be more popular and he will be more influential in the group of students. There can be several types of power. Or somebody can be President Jim Khanna. Suppose in this class there is one student who is President Jim Khanna. He will be powerful. Sometimes he can be more powerful than teachers also, because he holds a formal position in a formal organization of students. And in our institute, students are represented on all the Senate committees. So a person holding the position of President of Gymkhana will be a powerful person. Now we will see what are all the bases of power. So power is a chance, and power belongs to individuals, and power also belongs to groups. Today we have Bharat One, and different political parties in opposition, as well as some parties with the Congress within UPA, are trying to demonstrate their power. It's not that by burning buses and by stopping trains, the prices of petroleum or prices of petrol in particular will come down. It's a show of power. When political parties organize Bandh, the purpose is to show their power. Samajwadi Party is showing Samajwadi Party, which is now the party in power, too has to demonstrate that they are powerful. And to demonstrate that they are powerful, they are stopping trains and creating problems. They are not bothered about if there are problems for the people. BJP is doing the same thing. Janata Dal United is doing the same thing. Even left parties, they are all showing their power. And power, what is the purpose of power? To realize their own will. Power means ability or the probability to realize your own will. Again, will is not defined. Will may be to attain wealth, or to attain political power, or to earn prestige, or for any other purpose. Purposes may be of different kinds. Our Hindu texts like Gita will say that even goals can be sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Your will may be sattvic. The will may be to attain peace, harmony, mutual fulfillment in society, and transcendence ultimately. Or the will may be to conquer others, to expand your kingdom, to expand your political rule. This is what Kshatriyas did. Or to attain some worldly goal, so rajasic power. rasic will, or it may be a tamasic will, in which you feel happy by injuring other people or by sleeping. Tamasic, two properties of tamasic, either not doing anything or harming others. There are some people who are of this nature. They have tamasic will. They want to sleep or they want to hurt others. Hurt may be physical, may be psychological. You can hurt people physically, you can slap them, or you can say something, you can utter something to hurt their sentiments. So there are people good at that. So wills may be different. Wills may be sattvic, rasic, tamasic. Some people are high or stronger on will to attain peace and moksha. Some people are good at will to attain political power, earn a lot of wealth, become famous, influence others for influence's sake. And there are some other people who feel happy, whose will is either to sleep. This will is always present in students' community. To some extent, we are all sattvic, rasic, tamasic. All of us, only proportions differ. There are some students in whom tamasic proportion will be more and some in which it is less, but it is there. Will. In a communal action, this is another property of power. That you want to realize your will in a communal action. That communal here does not mean, you don't associate the word communal with communal riots. Here communal means social. Communal is social. In presence of others, when you take into consideration others' understanding of your action, you can anticipate others' reaction and responses to your action, or others' expectations from you. That is social. So power is to realize one's own will amidst other people in society. For Max Weber or for sociologists, power in which we try to realize our will in solitude, in caves of Himalayas, that is not, we are not interested, sociologists are not interested in those things. We are more interested in things which happen in society, among people. So there must be some will which has to be realized in a communal action, means in presence of other people like you. Even against, another important thing, because you want to realize some will amidst others in society, in social groups, organizations. Even against the resistance. I think this is also a very crucial word. In this definition, each and every word is very important. I will explain what it means. Even against the resistance of others, other people who are participating in the action may oppose your acts through which you are trying to realize your will. And still you have a high probability that you can attain your will. It's a probability of a man or a group of men to attain their goals, realize their will in society or in social groups, even against the resistance of others who are participating in the action. Now let me explain the term resistance. We often say that state is coercive. That means that state forces society or some groups in society to behave in a certain manner. Force. State may use force. Legitimate. State force is always legitimate. It is considered to be legitimate. though it may be questioned by subaltern groups. So state is coercive, and we say that NGOs or development organizations, NGOs are flexible and egalitarian, equal. NGOs are groups without hierarchy of power. Now, NGOs are groups without hierarchy of power. To understand that, I think we have to focus on this word, resistance. You see, in a classroom, you will agree with me. Again, what I say, let me repeat it again, that in sociology we are more interested in things which happen most of the time, with most of the people, in most situations. So there are exceptions. As a rule in any society, in a classroom situation or in a school or university, we would say that teachers are more powerful than students. There is a higher chance that teachers can realize their will. In a communal action, the relationship between teachers and students is communal. Don't quote it out of the context. I am saying the relationship between teachers and students is communal. This is not in the sense that teachers are Hindus and students are Muslims. It is in the sense that this interaction between teachers and students takes place in a social setting. Even against the resistance, there is a resistance. For example, in an ideal situation, what is teachers' will? Teachers' will is to effectively distribute the knowledge that they have gained in their life of academics. This is expected from them. Society expects, so teachers are paid for this. Teachers are paid for distributing knowledge that they have gained in their own areas of expertise in the community of students. And students will resist. Students do not want it. Students are not interested. To define power, this word resistance is also important. So teachers will plan, okay, in order to distribute knowledge effectively, I will put some weightage for attendance, some for 2-3 quizzes, some for mid-sem, some for end-sem, some for class participation, maybe some for assignments, projects. Teacher is forcing the students' community to learn something in which they are not interested, and they resist. Students can show their resistance by not coming to class, by not doing well in exams, by sleeping in the class, in variety of ways. Disrupting classes. In many colleges and universities, classes are disrupted because students are often on strike. So students are not, the relationship between teachers and students is very interesting, that teachers want to give something, students do not want to take that. And therefore, teachers have to manipulate classroom situation. They have to play some tricks and say this much weightage for this much weightage for that. Because there is a resistance, and because there is resistance, because students do not want it, and teachers somehow are able to manage distribution of knowledge in some way, that at the end of the semester, out of 100 students, at least 50 can understand some basic ideas of sociology. They may not answer all sociological questions, they should be able to answer in the same manner in which the subject is treated in Gisbert or other books of sociology, but they understand something of society. So teachers have been able to realize their will. Now imagine a situation in which students are equally interested in learning the subject and there is no resistance. Actually, there is a demand. In several European countries, students' union was formed not because students wanted to boycott classes, but teachers were not coming to classroom or teachers were not teaching. And students formed union to pressurize teachers, to coerce them, to put moral pressure, political pressure, to bring them to classroom and teach effectively. It's a very different scenario than the scenario that we have in India. Here in India, students are not interested. Resistance, they offer resistance. And still teachers have to manage. So teachers have to manage distribution of knowledge despite resistance. And therefore teachers are more powerful. If teachers are doing the same thing in which students are also interested, if students are interested, there is no need for teaching. If there is more togetherness, if students and teacher together want to explore new frontiers of knowledge in any branch of knowledge, it may be sociology, it may be physics, it may be aerodynamics, or teachers want to distribute knowledge regarding metals, and students too are seriously interested in knowledge in metals. There is no resistance. In that case, we will say that there is no inequality of power. Then teachers are not powerful. Teachers are powerful because teachers realize their own will, forcefully, powerfully distributing their knowledge among students, or in inculcation of certain value, not only information but also inculcation of certain values towards life, orientation towards others, society, patriotism, nationalism, truth, values of society. So because students are forced, they resist distribution of knowledge. So students are less powerful, teachers are more powerful. But if students are more interested in learning the subject, then it will be difficult for us to say that teachers are powerful. Then actually giving mid-sem, end-sem, quizzes, grading students A, B, C, D up to E, that is a meaningless exercise, absurd. Sometimes students may be knowing much more than teachers. Sometimes actually teacher may require students' help to develop himself. This is what NGO, non-government organizations do. In non-government organizations, for relief, for development, for taking up social issues, for disaster management, for campaigns of certain kinds, like awareness, environmental awareness, awareness about climate change, causes of climate change, creating a climate against female feticide. All the members of the NGO are equally interested. Even society is interested. And when such things take place, when all the members of the NGO have the same goal, same value, Max Weber will call it value rationality. When their action is rational because they all believe in the same value system, then the concept of power does not apply. Power exists only when there is resistance. If there is no resistance, there is no power. So this is what power means. And state is the institution. If I define in another way, then state is the institution which has monopoly over use of legitimate power. Power may be legitimate or power may be illegitimate. power which is considered to be right, acceptable in society. Illegitimate, not right, questioned by society. So, use of power by state is legitimate, by others illegitimate. Therefore, the term for state's power is authority, though this authority can be disputed. When the violence or the power is used by the state of India to deal with Naxalites, secessionist forces, or organizations of various types which indulge in violence, then that power is considered to be the right, legitimate power. The state has the authority. But use of power, violence or otherwise, some presidents and prime ministers, if recently one president of a country, an old man, has been imprisoned for 50 years. He may not survive for 10 years, but he has been imprisoned for 50 years. Not because he participated in any rebellion activity against the state. He himself was the chief of the state. But he sympathized with the revolutionary groups. So even sympathy can be questioned. State only has the authority. State has the authority to use power. If during Bharat Bandh, members belonging to political parties are burning buses, trains, forcing people to go away from roads, streets of the city, that is illegitimate power. And if police or armed forces use firearms to stop such miscreants or to disperse the crowds, then that is a legitimate power, authority, because they have the authority, though this authority has always been questioned. Those who do not think that the state is right, that state represents their interests, or state is moral, or state is attempting to attain goals which we expect from state to attain, then people may not consider that the state has any authority. They will question, people question state's authority. But and this also means that no state can survive just by applying physical force. The most cruel of all the cruel invaders, conquerors, kings of the past, after winning a territory, start using ideology, campaigns, communication, social service, charity to get their regimes or their government legitimized. Again, to give an example that we all of us, all Indians at least know about Ashok. Ashok, towards the end of his life, after winning the battle in Kalinga, became a Buddhist. Today we know Ashok to be a great emperor, a Buddhist, believing in altruism, charity, helping his subject, very benevolent king, very good at heart. If Ashok had not become Buddhist, and if Ashok had not shown all these things later in his life, then we would remember Ashok as another Genghis Khan of India, most barbarous. So even the Genghis Khan himself in Mongolia took up very benevolent activities. He started rationalizing the society. He respected intellectuals, philosophers. He created conditions for economic development, for improvement of health, for better organization of city life. So, because on force alone you cannot rule a populace for a long time. So, physical violence has to be followed by something else, so that ideology, physical violence has to be followed by ideology, so that those people start looking acceptable, good, and their philosophies and actions are seen to be in conformity with the values of society. So when late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared emergency, emergency was an act of force, and it was considered to be illegitimate by a large number of people in the country. But during emergency, she also tried to pursue many good things, and so good that when she goes to visit Vinoba Bhave, Vinoba Bhave blesses her, a Gandhiite, a saint, a philosopher, somebody whom most people in India revered for his contribution to Gandhian philosophy and Gram Dan Bhudan movement, the champion of Gram Dan movement, or the founding father of Gram Dan Bhudan movement in India. And he says that we are in the Anushasan Parva, that very good things are happening, and emergency is disciplining us for the betterment of society. Here is an attempt to convert or to use both force, physical violence, force, coercion, along with ideology, or along with doing some good things in accordance with the value system of society, so that the deeds and ideas of the state, of the government, of the regime become acceptable to people. If you just forget the last part, even last part is critical. If you really examine Ashok's writings, sayings, when he had become Buddhist, you can still raise questions about his intentions. But this much is certain, that if you remove that part from Ashok's life, then he was a very barbarous kind of person. Same thing with Stalin, with Hitler, with Mussolini, all authoritarian rulers. Now, Max Weber, after defining power, Max Weber says that, as I said, there are so many sources of power. To use some technical sociological concept, Max Weber says that there are three major sources of power, or three major sources of legitimate authority. What are they? Types of power. One, traditional. Traditional authority. Or power and authority. Authority means power, if used by a state, is authority. Power used by Naxalites, secessionists, separatists, terrorists, that is not authority, that is illegitimate. Traditional authority, then charismatic. And third, legal, rational authority. when the subject of power is discussed in psychology, in social psychology, then they also identify other sources of power. But for sociology, according to Max Weber, all major sources of power can be included in these three categories. At individual level, there are other sources. There is expert power, there is connection power, there may be moral power, other sources of power, but according to Max Weber, all types of authorities can be divided into three major types: traditional authority, charismatic authority, and legal rational authority. This discussion should also help you in introspecting and in learning that if you want to become a powerful person in whichever domain you are working, good or bad, civil or political, how can you attain power? One source of authority or one source of power is conformity or in accordance with the cultural patterns. Traditional authority in accordance with the cultural pattern. In accordance with the cultural pattern, some people are powerful. For example, according to the culture and tradition of India, Kshatriyas are powerful people. It is their right as well as responsibility to wield power to defend their kingdom, their national territory. It's their dharma. So according to Indian tradition, Kshatriyas are powerful people. And it is expected from all members of society, all the people of the village, to show reverence, pay taxes, and if need arises, work for them, give them labor, serve them, because they are powerful people. And this power has been derived from tradition. So a Thakur is powerful, his son is also powerful. Why is Thakur's son powerful? Because of tradition. Or in the field of religion, if a Brahmin is powerful, because it is tradition. In tradition, our tradition will not permit people belonging to other castes and communities to develop so much religious scholarship as Brahmins have. And even if they develop so much of scholarship, religious scholarship as Brahmins have, they will not be seen as so much powerful in the domain of religion as Brahmins. That is traditional authority, culture, history, tradition, power that comes from tradition. That is traditional authority. Usually the power of nobles, estates, feudal aristocracy, Kshatriyas of India, that power is traditional authority. Traditionally, we have vested power in certain section of society, and we also believe that that power is transferred from one generation to another. There are so many myths, literature, ideologies, views, opinions, public opinion, that the children of Thakurs carry superior genes than children of other castes and communities. There is a belief. I think sometime back I saw one film. Is there a film with name Vicky Donor? Huh? Now in Vicky Donor, this idea was clearly shown that certain groups of people, because of descent, have superior genes than others. Our folklores, our sayings, idioms, proverbs, our films, literature, folk songs, jatras, they inculcate such beliefs that some people and their descendants are different. This is traditional authority. Now, in case of charismatic authority, certain people carry some charisma or some quality in themselves. Quality in themselves, because of which they enjoy the charisma. Napoleon, Lenin, Abraham Lincoln, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, Mao, Lohia, Jayaprakash Narayan, they did not enjoy traditional power. It was not because they traditionally belonged to a caste or community or a group of people with whom power is traditionally associated. They were different. Charismatic people are seen to be different, and all other people, they do not require any organization. Nirmal Baba is believed to be one such leader, charismatic leader. Nirmal Baba does not require any organization. If Mahatma Gandhi says something, whether Congress party accepts it or not accepts it, the people of India are going to favor Mahatma Gandhi's views. Such people can create, destroy, organize. They can create organizations, they can destroy organizations. Organizations, associations are not important for them. All the people in society have one-to-one or think that they have a personalized one-to-one relationship with them. It is because of their own charisma. Now, this tells us we do not have Gandhis in all situations or Mussolinis or Hitlers in all situations. But in all situations, you will find that there are, in this class of 100 students itself, if you develop a scale of charisma, you can give them a score from 0 to 100. Some students will be just 0 at charisma. They can't influence anyone. Why does this happen? Again, not easy to answer. And there will be some students, 1 or 2 students out of 100, wherever they will go. They may become monk, they may become film star, they may become activists, they may become civil servant, they may join research, they will carry some charisma within them. They are different. You see, here you must have been exposed to teaching by now at least 20-25 teachers. They are all teachers. Their social condition, their salary structure, their relationship with the students, everything is same. But there must be some teachers whom most students liked, or they got influenced, impressed in some way by that teacher. Some way. They have their charisma. I wish that all of you carry a charisma of this kind. Wherever you go, you must be a charismatic. You must have other things also. You must have a good CPI, SPI. You must know your domain well. You must be an expert in your field. But you also carry a charisma. I have learned from past students from IIT Kanpur, from other places, even from small places who are working in different industries in Bangalore, Delhi, or other places, that in most cases, students of IIT, and particularly IIT, they tell me IIT Kanpur, have some type of charisma. It's not traditional authority. It's something in them in relation to students coming from small degree colleges, engineering colleges, NITs, or even other IITs. There is something in them. It's very difficult to define what is that. Sai Baba has a charisma. It does not mean that Sai Baba new Hindu religion best, it also does not mean that Sai Baba was the most enlightened soul ever lived on this earth or in India. There may have been many more enlightened souls in India, going by purely religious, spiritual framework also. There may have been many such saints, Mahatmas in caves of Himalayas, and contemporary people at the same time when Sai Baba lived. But Sai Baba had some kind of charisma. And this charisma means one-to-one relationship. Everybody, all those who are influenced by charismatic people, all of them individually accept their power. They may have trust, they may not have trust. Organization, trust means organization. They may because I am saying something about Sai Baba, so immediately I also remember a religious controversy. In Chitrakoot, there is a blind vice chancellor of a religious kind of university. I am forgetting his name, Ram Bhadraji or something. Now, he made certain significant changes in the story and writings of Ramcharitmanas. Going by his own wisdom, he thinks that certain things have not been stated rightly. And there was a conflict. So many religious people opposed him. Ultimately, the case went to the court also. Now, this religious guru has his own charisma. Or recently, one such person, Jai Gurudev died. A great, a saint who had a great following in all parts of India and outside. En masse, crores of rupees, made so many buildings in several cities. Charisma. And lastly, legal rational. Legal rational means according to rules formed by society. So the power of dean, power of a judge, power of a senior manager, power of a clerk, power of director. This is an example of legal rational authority. That society develops a legal rational framework of action, some rules and regulations, deliberately, consciously, after lots of debates, made by people. And these rules, like statutes, rules, laws, bylaws of different organizations, according to our statutes in educational institutions, there are some statutory positions. Director is one, heads of the departments. Heads of the departments have statutory position. So certain decisions in certain domains taken by director and heads of the department are to be followed. They have the power. Head of the department has the power to issue the letter of termination. These types of powers are legal rational. So when you will become manager somewhere, remember that as a manager, you have legal rational authority. But the rights and obligations of manager will not necessarily make you the most effective leader. All managers are not equally effective. So you have to look for what are all the sources of power in that situation, and some kind of charisma that you develop. Maybe some psychologists can also tell you how to develop that charisma. Then by using all these sources of power, you become an effective leader.